Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 26th June 2022. So first of all, we will try to find out the relevance of all these articles. This is Sunday's newspaper, so FAQ page and science and technology page is always relevant to our examination along with other national and international developments. First of all, let us try to understand the relevance of these articles to our syllabus, then we will discuss them in detail. First of all, mains related articles. What accounts for the deficit in some areas and excess rainfall in Assam this monsoon season? So this is relevant from GS1 paper geography part. We will try to find out what are the reasons for excess rainfall in this pre-monsoon and monsoon time period of May and June month, where the Assam is facing lot of floods at present, and at the same time which are the deficit areas central India and peninsular India, and why such deficit has happened in these regions. Some facts are mentioned, we can directly use them in our answers in GS1 paper geography part. So this is there on FAQ page. Now yes, Juvenile Justice Act 2021 amendment may backfire. These are the views let's say given by the experts in this field, experienced people in this field. So we should understand this is relevant from social justice part GS2 paper. Juvenile justice is very important aspect because juvenile welfare of the juvenile is important component of welfare aspect or vulnerable sections of society. तो वहाँ पे हम ये कवर करेंगे what are the amendments that are done to this Juvenile Justice Act 2021 and along with that why let's say it is problematic. Then from specifically prelims perspective, these are the developments. Udaipur's bird village to be declared as wetland, and in future that wetland may be let's say may become the Ramsar site of Rajasthan, third such site of Rajasthan. So we will see the location and where this let's say bird village, how the community led conservation is happening of this lake, which is resulting into protection of biodiversity conservation. So you can use this example in mains let's say GS3 paper, environment section, also essay paper. Kerala to have its own regional red list of birds. We all know that red data book is maintained by IUCN and every year it is revised and published by IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Okay, so Kerala to have its own regional red list of birds on the basis of guidelines provided by IUCN. Then GST compensation cess extended till 2026. So GST council meeting has happened and there the GST compensation cess which was going to end this year 2022, it is extended for next 4 years, so as to fill up for whatever the borrowings that central government had done in last year and this year to fund the states, to compensate the states under the GST Compensation Act. Then Padma multi-purpose bridge in Bangladesh inaugurated. Let's say the location of this Padma multi-purpose dam across the Padma river in Bangladesh, and it is going to be beneficial for India also because it is going to connect the different parts of the Bangladesh. So that's why it is of significance. On page number 11, science and technology page, types of diabetes and the cure and all these aspects are mentioned in that article. So it is relevant to general science and science and technology for prelims examination. Okay, let us go in details. First article, GS1 paper geography part, extreme weather. See, in Assam and Meghalaya we are witnessing floods at present, even let's say before the start of monsoon rainfall. So Assam received 1891 mm of rainfall from March 1 to June 24, just 347 mm less than its annual precipitation it receives. A total of 117 people died since April and 17 of them in landslides. Okay, so these facts you can mention in your answer whenever we, or in introduction part itself, whenever we talk about the extreme weather events or the vagaries of the monsoon rainfall. Now, how has the monsoon been so far this year? Okay, so so far this year you should know that there is excess rainfall in northeast and northwest part of India and deficient rainfall, we are talking from 1st June to 23rd June. Data given in this article, IMD data 1st June to 23rd June. Deficient rainfall in central and peninsular India. Okay, so you should be knowing about this aspect. Even if you do not remember the factual aspect, at least know that the deficient rainfall in central and peninsular India, excess rainfall in northeast and northwest India. Now, what are the factors determining the rainfall pattern in India? Okay, so rainfall pattern we all know that the distribution of rainfall in India is guided by two branches of the southwest monsoon. Yes, southwest monsoon that comes for 4 months, June to September, contributes to 80% of India's rainfall, and there are two branches, Arabian Sea branch and Bay of Bengal branch is there, and they give let's say rainfall to different parts of the country. The factors determining the rainfall, you should know, one factor is especially for northeastern region, okay, and the central India. So for northeastern region, the aerosols and we can say carbon particles, carbon soot particles play very important role for rainfall, especially in let's say western part of northeastern India. Second thing, you should know that monsoon trough. Okay, location of monsoon trough, it is ITCZ, Intertropical Convergence Zone. So the areas where let's say the monsoon trough is lying, if suppose they are having the rain bearing clouds or winds, there are more chances of rainfall. And in Assam at present, basically the monsoon trough was there during the pre-monsoon time period and first month of this monsoon, June time period, and because of that it attracted lot of rain bearing winds from the Bay of Bengal. And at the same time we should know that up for let's say 2 degrees Celsius temperature increased of Bay of Bengal due to climate change. And because of that more moisture was available with these winds. This was also one of the factor determining rainfall largely in Assam and Meghalaya this year. So especially you should know that pre-monsoon rainfall in Assam this year in May month 40% higher than the normal. Okay, and because of that also we are witnessing lot of, we can say, floods there. Now was monsoon late this year? No, monsoon arrived in Kerala before 1st June. 1st June has been the new date for arrival in Kerala, we can say. But this arrival, let's say after that there has been sluggish movement of Arabian Sea branch, and because of that deficient rainfall across the peninsula and central India. So, and the second aspect you should know that the Bay of Bengal branch has gone to the northeastern India immediately as it let's say faces less friction as it is moving over uniform sea surface and not over the land non-uniform land surface like Arabian Sea branch. So that's why more rainfall in northeastern India. Okay, and the convectional type of rainfall is there in northwestern India. So up till now the monsoon has not reached to Delhi, Punjab and Haryana, but still the rainfall is there. Basically that is pre-monsoon or convectional type of rainfall because of excessive heating. Okay, so in this manner you should know that the monsoon is not late this year, but the sluggish movement is there, and along with that you should also know in terms of how monsoon trough affects the rainfall. If suppose the rain bearing winds are not lying along the monsoon trough, east west monsoon trough, we can say the ITCZ, then what happens is there is lack of rainfall, and it is one of the reason for breaks in monsoon. It is one of the reason for breaks in monsoon. तो ये आपको पता होना चाहिए ये breaks in monsoon क्या phenomenon है और उसका एक reason. Another reason for breaks in monsoon is when these winds of the Arabian Sea branch of southwest monsoon, they move parallel to the western Ghats or mountain ranges, then they do not yield more rainfall in that region. Another reason for breaks in monsoon, we can say. Fine. So in addition to this, the monsoon is also influenced by different phenomenon like El Nino and La Nina, then also Indian Ocean dipole, then also we can say Madan-Julian oscillations. Yes, so as a geography student you should be knowing about El Nino, La Nina and Madan-Julian oscillations. Briefly I will tell you. So El Nino is arrival of warm waters along the Peru coast, which is having in general the cold current, cold waters, and this completely changes the oceanic circulation and atmospheric circulation in Pacific Ocean, which has bearing on the atmospheric circulation in Indian Ocean region also, and that affects, we can say, the Indian monsoon. So El Nino has negative impact, La Nina has some favorable impact on Indian monsoon. Indian Ocean dipole is basically the ocean surface temperature in Indian Ocean, in equatorial Indian Ocean region, in western and eastern part, they are differing. Okay, so when the western part of Indian Ocean region is comparatively warmer surface as compared to eastern part, then we call it as a positive Indian Ocean dipole. And when we say that there are cooler temperatures in the western part of Indian Ocean, then it is negative IOD. Positive IOD is associated with good rainfall, monsoon rainfall in India. Negative IOD is, we can say that it is harmful for monsoon. Madan-Julian oscillations are basically the moving rain bearing winds along the equatorial region, and they have time period of 30 to 60 days to complete the globe. Okay, they are moving over the ocean surface continuously, and these Madan-Julian oscillations, when they are there during the southwest monsoon period in Indian Ocean region, then we can say that it is favorable for Indian monsoon. तो ये आपको briefly पता होना चाहिए कि how they are influencing monsoon. Now, Juvenile Justice Act amendment may backfire. So what experts are saying about this Juvenile Justice Act Amendment Act 2021? Let's see. Reporting instances of abuse and cruelty by staffers or the persons in charge at child care institutions is not easy. While the victims themselves are unable to directly report them due to imbalance of power, these staffers have more power as compared to the children. Most such crimes are reported by to the police by either parents or child rights bodies and child welfare committees. Now remaining three, how they are facing problem, let's understand. On one hand, parents of the children who are mostly daily wage workers are either unaware of how to or not inclined to report the crimes to police. On the other hand, the child welfare committees first instinct in most cases is to talk and arrive at settlement without having escalate the matter to the police. This has been the practice. Okay, so that's why the staffs who are actually exploiting the children who are, let's say, in the child care institutions under this Juvenile Justice Act, they are facing lot of problems. With 2021 amendment to this Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act, making these crimes non-cognizable along with several other serious crimes under the special law, expert and child rights bodies have raised alarm saying this would make reporting these crimes to the police even more difficult. Non-cognizable करने की वजह से क्या होता है, ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. according to Code of Criminal Procedure, once the crime are rendered non-cognizable, the police will be able to register FIR only on the directions of magistrate, and the complainant will first have to approach the magistrate concerned to start the process. ये प्रॉब्लम है नॉन कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंसेस के लिए. Now the state commissions for the protection of child rights in Delhi, Punjab, Chandigarh, Rajasthan, West Bengal have already publicly spoken out against these amendments and even flagged the union government. Delhi Commission for Protection of Child Rights have also challenged the amendment in Supreme Court. Now some of the offences of this act have been reclassified as non-cognizable. Specifically, amendment under the challenge is one section 86 of Juvenile Justice Act, according to which the crimes under special law with punishment between 3 to 7 years have been reclassified as non-cognizable. And they are major we can say provisions, like for example cruelty to the children by this staff. Okay, so child care institution staff, employment of children for begging and using children to smuggle or sell intoxicant substance, narcotics. So basically you should understand they should be cognizable offences, but they have been classified as non-cognizable. Okay, now so it is relevant to mains examination, social justice part. Udaipur's bird village to be declared as wetland. Okay, so where it is located in Udaipur district, two lakes Brahma and Dhanda. Okay, so Brahma and Dhand, these are the two lakes which are, we can say, conserved by the local village people of Menar village. Okay, so recognized as the bird village following community driven conservation efforts, Menar in Udaipur district is said to be notified as Rajasthan's New Wetland. This will pave the way for getting the Ramsar site status for this rural heartland of Mewar region. Okay, so two lakes in the village, Brahma and Dhand, plays host to large number of migratory birds in the winter season. With the status of wetland, the two lakes will be strengthened for increasing vegetation, aquatic plants and protecting biodiversity further. At present, Rajasthan has two wetlands recognized as Ramsar site. Prelims fact, which are these two? Kevladev Ghana in Bharatpur district and Sambar Salt Lake of Jaipur. The villages in Menar, situated 45 km away from the Udaipur, have built healthy ecosystem for birds during last 4 years with activities such as patrolling, rescue of injured birds, reporting any attempt of poaching. Volunteers known as Pakshi Mitras, friends of birds, were maintaining the lakes as a safe haven for birds. Also, bird lovers and tourists flock the village after arrival of migratory birds from Central Asia, Europe and Mongolia. In addition to these measures, the villagers had stopped using water from lakes for irrigation and started regular weeding to get rid of water hyacinths from the lake, while the panchayat had prohibited fishing in the water bodies. When the water level declines in summer, they fill the lake with water through tankers and saving the fish and birds. Pakshi Mitras have also taken up the development of pastures near these reservoirs. So this is how community led conservation, joint conservation we can say, this is the case study you should mention in essay GS3 paper environment section. And this freshwater lake, when it will be declared as wetland, it will be protected under Wetlands Conservation and Management Rules of 2019. Fine. Now moving on, Kerala to have its own regional red list of birds. Okay, so we all know that IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, it provides IUCN a red data book of, let's say, threatened species. There are several categories like critically endangered, vulnerable, near threatened, so least concern. So such 9 categories are there in red data book, and it also provides guidelines for different countries and individual states to identify all these threatened species. We can say on the basis of these guidelines, Kerala will be first such state to have its own red list of birds. Now you should know, according to global IUCN red list, Kerala has 35 threatened species of birds. Red-headed vulture and white-rumped vulture are critically endangered. Critically endangered and endangered species are relevant to our prelims examination. Steppe eagle, Banasura chilappam, Nilgiri chilappan are endangered and 11 species are vulnerable. Previously, Kerala Bird Atlas was released. Kerala became first such a state to release the Bird Atlas, and there is lot of data, let's say, accumulated through this Kerala Bird Atlas activity by the bird watchers. It was, the use of volunteers and their inputs were taken. So that's why it was good initiative, and Kerala is at forefront always in terms of conservation of birds. So remember this fact also. GST compensation cess extended till 2026. Yesterday the decision was taken by the central government after GST council meeting. So you should know that GST cess is levied on luxury demerit goods, and it is collected to pay the compensation to those states where let's say after implementation of GST Act they lost some kind of revenue. So this will be called as compensation. This was to be provided for 5 years, but last 2 years the many states lost revenue and the central government was not able to pay the compensation as the economic activities decline and overall revenue collection decline. So the central government decided to borrow from the market and it paid to the states the compensation. तो वो borrowing जो किया हुआ है उसके लिए अभी ये cess जो है extend किया है 4 साल के लिए. Okay, so it will be extended from July 1st 2022 to 31st March 2026. So now you should know that in order to meet the resource gap of state due to short release of compensation, the center borrowed and released 1.1 lakh crore in 2021 and 1.59 lakh crore in 2021-22. Okay, so this was borrowing, and center has repaid 7,500 crore as interest cost for borrowing in last year, and 14,000 crore is to be paid in this fiscal year. Okay, and then after that for next 4 years the principal amount will be, we can say, covered. Fine. So remember this decision also. Now Hasina opens Padma multi-purpose bridge. So Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, so she has inaugurated this Padma bridge. So it is multi-purpose railroad bridge. Remember the location here across Padma river, Ganga river and the Brahmaputra, which is called Jamuna river in Bangladesh. Together it will be called as later Padma river. Okay, so that's why the name Padma bridge. So it is located in Dhaka district of Bangladesh. It will help to improve connectivity across Bangladesh. Indian government has also said that it will help for more trade between India and Bangladesh. Okay. Now fighting type 2 diabetes pandemic. So basics of diabetes, there are two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Okay, type 1 is generally genetic in origin and easier handled by taking molecular insulin. ठीक है, तो इंसुलिन के इंजेक्शंस जो दिए जाते हैं बेसिकली दैट इज फॉर टाइप 1 डायबिटीज विच इज लार्जली जेनेटिक और हेरिडिटरी इन नेचर, while type 2 diabetes is largely we can say lifestyle disease, and that's why insulin injections are not more effective there. Such kind of lifestyle type 2 diabetes, let's say, largely happens after 45 years of age. The kind of, let's say, urban lifestyle is there and lack of, let's say, healthy diet and exercise, and because of that it is being developed among the certain number of people. This type 2 diabetes is also more observed in urban areas as compared to rural areas because of change in lifestyle. So some suggestions are given for type 2 let's say diabetes. There are some ways to fight against this disease, like we can say changes in the diet. Staple food, it is best to consume a high fiber diet with low carbohydrate intake. So yes, that's why rice is more having more carbohydrates, so it should be replaced by wheat and other pulses. It is being said wheat has higher fiber content, more protein, calcium and minerals, and rice we use white rice, it has let's say polished and it is more in carbohydrates. So it will be healthier for rice eaters to include wheat in their food plus high protein grains, maize, carrot, cabbage, pulses and vegetables. For non-vegetarians, eggs, fish and mutton is good. It is high fiber, having high fiber and protein. Also individual needs some small let's say lose small amount of weight, eat healthy diet, reduce let's say total carbon intake in the food and do physical exercise regularly. These are the way forwards. Okay, yes. Now on the basis of this information, what should be answer to this question? Okay, so just now we learned about type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is largely genetic in nature, while type 2 depends on lifestyle of the individual. This is true, this is correct. Type 1 diabetes does not need insulin injection, rather it needs insulin, it can be managed with the insulin let's say injection. So it is incorrect. So rather type 2 does not need insulin injection, while type 1 requires insulin. So that's why one only A is the correct answer in this case. Fine. Okay. So these are the important articles from Sunday's newspaper. Fine. Thank you.
Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Study General Studies with Lukmaan IAS for building comprehensive knowledge. GS paper 2 and 4 will be taken by S. Ansari and other papers will be covered by renowned faculties. Live classes are as effective as offline classes. The classes are highly interactive in nature. Your doubts and queries will be addressed and there will be dictation of notes. In the last 10 years, Lukmaan IAS has set up a niche in the field of UPSC guidance.